somewhere where I went, okay, if I could bring this in-house, I could chart here. By using a straight line angle, I can take 3 measurements around.
Live from Studio 4 in beautiful Naperville, Illinois, Spanesi Interactive Channel continues with hiring the next generation of technicians. Now your host, COO of Spanesi Americas, Mr. Tim Morgan.
Well, I'm pretty excited today when we look at the industry of what's happening and the changes and how technical the industry has become. And I'm pretty excited to have a guest with me this morning. I've known him for about 13, 14 years in the industry. He does wonderful things for the Collision Repair Education Foundation, recently promoted to Managing Director. We have Brandon Eckenrode here to be able to speak this morning of what the future is going to look like. So welcome, Brandon.
Thank you, Tim, for having me.
I really am excited to see how technical the industry has become. But because it's become more technical, I think we now have to do further searching to be able to get better talent in the industry. And I think this morning we need to look through how we can do that. When we looked at traditional methods of how we've brought people into the industry and attracted them, I think we need to change that up a little bit. Would you agree?
I would agree. And I think how technical this industry has become is an opportunity for us to promote the industry in a different way so that we can hopefully address the kind of the negative stereotype that people have about a body shop or the body shop industry. So it's an opportunity for us to capture or kind of utilize to showcase it as the technical industry that it is.
Well, my own, for instance, back in the day, many, many years ago, I am a product of technical education. And when I wanted to go into the then auto body program, I was told that I was too smart and I should go to college. My parents had to go before the school board and the guidance counselors to say, hey, this is what my son wants to do. And had I went to college, I probably wouldn't be sitting here next to you today. Some 40 years later, was a technician, was a body shop manager, owned my own body shop, went into technical education, running a college, and then 3 or 4 different instances in the equipment segment of the industry to chief operating officer of Spanesi Americas. It's pretty exciting. Never would have had that opportunity had my parents not stepped forward and say, hey, this is what he wants to do.
I actually stumbled into the industry almost in an opposite direction, where I am a product of traditional four-year college, a English and journalism major in college, and actually entered into the industry working initially with iCar in their marketing department. But I, to your point, would never even thought of, one, there are opportunities within this industry, and I've been in it now for nearly 20 years. Do not have any types of regret in terms of what the opportunities are. But to your point, we have to do a better job of what we like to say is influencing the influencers when it comes to, even at that younger age, of showcasing what those opportunities are, so that they're at least aware of it, and then hopefully can make informed decisions on if it's a path that they want to take.
Well, and the thing is, it's not just that you're going to be a repair technician. I mean, there's appraisers, there's parts people, there's production managers. There's salvage people even that, all evolve around this industry. Equipment salespeople, for instance, or even paint jobbers, and being able to work with the painters that are out there. So, I mean, there's a whole technical support staff beyond just being a collision repair technician. But one of the things that I see in the industry, and it bothers me a bit, is, again, going back to that guidance counselor, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I don't think that the way that a career path is started for a student I think it's starting too late. I think honestly that by the time someone gets to high school, they already know what they want to do.
Yep.
I can tell you in my own household, my youngest, she's now in high school. In junior high, she knew what she wanted to do, and that's how she's accelerated her plan in life to be able to go from that. And I really think by waiting until the student gets to high school, it's too late.
Agree. And we have to start addressing that issue. We actually, late last year, we were able to secure a grant from General Motors, which will make the foundation, which will essentially be the industry, as we're a national 501c3, neutral in terms of just trying to help out the schools and the future of the industry. The foundation will be one of the top sponsors at the American School Counselor Conference that's coming up this July in Austin, Texas, which will gather nearly 5,000 kindergarten through high school counselors, so that we can start educating that group, because I 100% agree that there's an opportunity even at the elementary school age to make them aware what this industry is through that unique kind of advertising or communicating on what those different opportunities are and showcasing what goes into actually repairing a vehicle. But to your point, yes, absolutely, we have to do a better job as an industry to get in front of those students at that very younger age.
Well, and I think getting to them at a younger age will also help them when they figure out their dynamics of what they need for math, what they need for communication, what they need to be able to survive in the industry, so that when they come out that high school age, they're better ready to be able to enter our marketplace. It's bad enough that we're being stereotyped, or the industry's being stereotyped in the education side, but what's the worst thing that ever happens to someone who owns a car? They get in an accident and then they're like, oh, I have to go to a body shop.
Yep. Not a fun experience, but it's an opportunity, again, to showcase to those students what all the various career paths, as you mentioned, are, so that, like myself, I've been in the industry for 20 years. You do not want me touching a vehicle because I don't have that technical expertise. But my role within this industry is to gather support from our industry partners like Spanesi to help out these schools, because these instructors, because of the stereotypes, the budgets are being shrunken every single year. So all that we can do as an industry to help these instructors, which then will in turn provide a better kind of experience / being able to market the industry from the school level, is just as important, because if they're being brought around on tours, they're visiting other technical programs, we're essentially competing with these other technical programs who are also facing that aging workforce. So we either get the best or we're going to get the leftovers, because they tried out other programs and just end up in the collision repair program just because they didn't survive in other programs. So it's an opportunity for us to hopefully attract the best if we want the best to go into the industry.
So Brandon, I have a question for you. What exactly is Cref, and what exactly is its role in the collision repair industry, and where does it fit in with helping get students into the class? Because we talked about the need for it. Where does Cref fit in?
So the Collision Repair Education Foundation has been around this is our 31st year within the industry. We were actually founded by industry volunteers back in 1991 that even at that time were trying to address the lack of technicians and or the students having a lack of technical knowledge when they were exiting the schools. But in 2009, we transitioned from distributing ICAR curriculum. That was transitioned over to ICAR, which is a separate entity from the foundation. And the best description I like to give between ICAR and the foundation is basically McDonald's and the Ronald McDonald House in terms of being a philanthropic arm. We work very closely with them. But in 2009, we began this philanthropic focus of trying to gather industry support from our many industry partners to help out these school programs. But one of the areas that we focus on is the attraction piece in terms of trying to attract students to these technical programs. And that's done in a multitude of ways of trying to make these high school and college collision school programs around the country that under our umbrella of support, make them look like professional learning environments. So don't let them look like the dark, dingy body shop that everyone thinks that this industry is about. Make them look like where you'd be comfortable sending your child, son, daughter to go learn about repairing vehicles. But that's done through our incredible industry partners. And to give the industry credit, we've been fortunate enough to distribute over $500 million worth of support to the school since 2009, which is in the form of monetary donations, in-kind donations that these programs so desperately need because their instructors are facing smaller and smaller budgets.
So what is your percentage of dollars given versus dollars distributed to the industry?
Very good question. As any reputable charity should be distributing, typically it's 75 cents on the dollar should be returned back to the cause. And we are very fortunate, being a very lean organization, we return 90 cents of every dollar donated going back to helping out the schools and students. And a further recognition, we have been a charity navigator 4 out of 4-star charities since 2013, and only roughly 5 to 10% of the charities in the country earn that designation. So it helps to showcase, as you typically hear about the opposite, out in the country of other organizations where more of it's going to the overhead and salaries, to where with our organization, as much support as possible is going back to the schools and students nationwide.
That's fantastic. I know you and I have worked together on several projects. As a matter of fact, we were talking about a week and a half ago or something, and you're like, I need a little bit of help. And we're working on a project that started out pretty small, and now we're into truckloads of things having to be moved.
Yes. Tim, you were just through a conversation when I was here last week, you referred us over to somebody that's going to help immensely with one of something that's requested most often from schools that they're in need of, that will be announced here shortly, but you helped make that contribution possible through a contact that you have, because in life, it's not always what you know, it's who you know when it comes to contacts. So I look forward to announcing that here in the very near future, but obviously that would not have happened without your contact. So thank you again for that.
And a lot of diesel fuel.
Yes. No, but that was great. And these schools need as much help as they can get, especially coming out of the pandemic. The administration is scrutinizing budgets now more than ever. So when they're having to look at what does a program cost, naturally a collision repair program is going to be on the more expensive side because of all the consumables, the tools, the equipment. So this is where, in terms of the attraction, Carl, that you were asking about, we need to make sure that the local businesses are getting involved and invested in the local programs, which they're only going to see the benefit out of, because it'll be hopefully a properly trained entry-level staff member coming out of that school that we can employ within the industry.
And I was just going to bring up that point. I really think that shop managers, shop owners, and even the technicians need to take a day, go to their local collision repair program, even their automotive program, and speak to the students about their successes, help them with a guided path to be able to move forward, and maybe volunteer. We do it here very often with the local college. You and I worked together a few years back to be able to give away the first multi-bench that came to the USA to a local college here. I've gone back there several times. My staff has gone back there with me, or even without me, to do training 2-3 times a year. We actually, one of our employees was a full-time student there, now a full-time student here. And I think that more people need to interact on the local level and get involved in your local fundraising. Just as you went and jumped in a cold lake not too long ago to be able to raise some funds.
Absolutely, and that was quite the experience, but well worth it for what the donation was. But to your point, and this is not a phrase that I came up with, but I think it helps emphasize what you're saying, Tim, is that this is a national problem with a local solution. And not only do the instructors and students need to see and meet the local businesses, but it goes back to make sure that if you go get involved with the local school, talk with the administration, talk with the school counselors, so that they know there's a line of businesses out the door waiting for these students, which will help, hopefully, when these programs are having to possibly consider closing a program down. They know, don't close down this collision program, because we have more employers and there's a need out there greater than the student body that they have with a lot of these programs. Just as we heard out at the Northeast show this past weekend, I was sitting on a panel and they were telling me that the average age up in the Northeast, it's closer to 60 years old. So we're not too far off when you, I, or somebody else gets into an accident that we might not get our car back for a couple months because there's just not people out there to be able to fix the vehicle. So if you are a local business owner and you are concerned about this issue and you want to see a better quality coming out of the schools, don't wait for it to happen. Take part and get involved with your local school, and we can help make those connections if somebody's not already included or involved with their school. And there's opportunities that they can do to get invested in that school to help that school out, whether it's with tools, equipment, supplies, brand new, epoxy floor, just make the program look professional. So it's on the industry to help take part in making that difference.
Well, it's amazing what you've done over the years. You talk about the epoxy floors, but just painting walls, epoxy floors, uniform shirts.
Yep.
To be able to move programs up to the next level.
Absolutely.
I remember back a few years ago, we worked with you on a spray booth project that you came to me and you said, we don't know how we're going to get a spray booth in this building because we have all these height constraints and this constraint and this constraint. And we were able to put together a program for that school, and the school's thriving now.
Yep. And it's because of that investment. The students get a better learning experience. But you mentioned the uniforms. It's always funny to hear that of the 500 plus million that we've given out over the past 13 years or so, the instructors have come back and said the uniforms that we provide to schools through local sponsors, through Cintas, those uniforms have made the biggest impact on the students and the programs. Because if you just imagine a student in street clothes versus someone that's in the traditional short sleeve blue technician shirt with work pants, they look like a live working technician, and it changes the mindset. Just similar to like if we were to buy a brand new suit, you kind of feel different when you're looking professional and looking nice. But the students are treated with a new level of respect. So it's just always funny to hear about those small things that you think are just, it's a nice thing to have, but it's made a huge impact on the programs.
Right. I really have watched your career grow, I should say, and how you've, gone from calling up looking for a couple $1,000 donation, as we've done in the past. Every day I see new memories on Facebook, so you see what we did in the past, and to where you've gone today. I have to congratulate you on your professionalism and how you've been able to help the industry grow. I can see when I go into a program that you've been to and even spoke, that the energy in the room of the students and their goal mindset is amazing today. What we need to find is a way to also mentor better, I would say, when we get out in the shop. I know that was a question that came up that talking with Carl earlier was, okay, I put this technician from school or during school out with this master technician, and the master technician, I don't want to say he has an attitude, but he needs to be a mentor or a continuing education teacher beyond the educator that taught the student. What do you see coming in the future with that? Because I really think there needs to be some formal training for those technicians in the shop that are going to be the mentor. The other thing that I see is the top-end technician is so busy turning hours, dollars, whatever you want to call it, that they don't really feel that they can help bring the student up because the student's going to get in the way. And it's really the opposite. What do you think about that?
I think this is something that's happening nationwide in terms of that there's a need that's there. And I think what you'll see be announced here in the not so distant future is there's going to be an effort to provide that training. There's some things that are being worked on that I can't announce quite yet, but I think that issue has gotten to the boiling point where something needs to be done. And there's some training that's going to be at least provided for those that are willing to actually learn, because to your point, what's happening is a lot of businesses are having to detrain and retrain these students because of what their education might have been in school. So One, there's going to be training that's provided to help guide businesses on how to do that, and how do you interact with a late teens, early 20-year-old. That's its own process by itself with the way students are, kids are these days. But what we can do from the foundation side, from a national level, is better educate the schools and students on understanding that they need to be taught a wide overview of curriculum about the industry, but showcase what the entry-level skill sets that they need to be great at, that they're going to be doing day one on the job. They're not going to be welding on a customer's car day one. They're going to eventually learn and get to that. So what we can do from a foundation side is showcase, understanding you have to have this broad overview, but make sure you're great at these, say, top 5 skill sets that they will most likely do in the entry-level repair technician side, so that they're at least aware of, hey, it's great that I need to learn about all these different things, but when am I going to learn more specifically about these things? Because the industry is telling me these are the skill sets that I need, which will make them more productive, which will make the business more, and they can climb the ladder quicker, as opposed to both the student and business being frustrated and they just end up sweeping floors because they don't know how to do those things that they should know. But going back to that mentor, there's going to be some training coming out or announcements here in the very near future to help address that issue.
I have to say, now that's 3 times since we've been sitting here in 20 minutes. When you smile, the way you smile when you say, I have something coming in the future,
Yep.
That means you're always working on something big.
There's always something. There's always something. But yes, and just a quick, thank you, Tim, for your earlier comments about us obviously working together for many, many years. I literally pinch myself every morning in terms of I get paid to do this. I don't consider it a job. And that's it's a testament to the industry of how successful we are, and that's why in my LinkedIn profile, my position title is not managing director. It's facilitator of generosity, because that's essentially what I am in terms of connecting industry partners like you and Spanesi to help support these schools. So when I say it's $500 million that we've given out, while it's Cref the one saying that, it's a direct testament to this industry's love for the future of the industry that makes all that possible. So I in return, as we're kind of, shaking each other's, hand and patting each other on the back, it's a direct testament to this industry and those that are actually involved with us that are helping the schools to make all the support possible.
Well, and it's amazing how many corporations, how many individuals, how many shops get together every year to be able to make sure that you can be generous to all these different schools and to the students and to help bring this industry farther. If there was one little tool in your toolbox that you could use from the industry as in help, and I don't mean like a measuring system or a welder or something like that. If there was something you needed the industry to do for you for the next 5 years, would you feel it's accurate in saying that you need their interaction, that you need more support? What would it be?
It's a very good question. And because of some initiatives that we're about to do, like the school counselor presence and another project that I know we're probably going to talk about with operative talent, now more than ever, we need the businesses to get involved and interact with their local schools, because there's going to be a spotlight put on this industry. And when we have the general public, which the industry has always talked about, and in my personal kind of mantra / while I'm still allowed to be in this position, I'm going to stir stuff up, and I'm tired of all the talking and complaining. It's time to actually do something. So in addition to the school counselor project, and I know we can get into the operative talent project that we're...
Well, let's talk about
Okay.
it. Let's talk about operative talent. I can tell you, the minute the phone rang and someone said, hey, would you be involved in this project? I had goosebumps.
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool.
Yep.
Because we're going to be able to... Well, I'll let you tell the whole story, but we're going to be able to bring industry people together with students to create a product to be able to do what?
So I'm usually the one that's coming up with kind of off the wall, out of the box ideas, reaching out to industry partners, which I'm sure, Tim, you can attest to for all the number of maybe phone calls you've received from me over the years. But we were actually contacted by BASF and KTL Restorations, which is located out, I think it's Danville,
Yes.
Virginia. They wanted to do a project where essentially, and this was announced at SEMA 2021, we're going to be rebuilding a 69 Camaro that KTL Restorations is kind of taking the lead on, is that's what they do when it comes to rebuilding vehicles. But through gathering as many industry partners as we can and incorporating local students, the car is going to be rebuilt. And KTL, just to make sure we didn't kind of rush things too quickly, plus all the part shortage and everything else that's going on, the car is going to be rebuilt over the next 2 years so that it's going to be raffled off at SEMA 2023. And through, it's going to be a fundraiser for the foundation through both corporate sponsorship and then people buying raffle tickets, which is great by itself. To your point, it's going to involve students, it's going to involve industry partners coming together. But what it's going to specifically raise funds for, which I think will be a game changer for this industry, is that it's going to fund a national PSA campaign about this industry. So you're going to start at the end of this project, you're going to see commercials on TV, online, radio, showcasing this industry, and we can do that because we're a 501c3. It's going to be neutral in terms of its messaging, but it'll be directing people back to a website that talks about the industry so people could learn what are the career paths, how do I find a school near me, give them the information about the industry that they're not aware of, but it's through an industry collaboration that's all that's going to make this possible. So more than excited and thankful to KTL, BASF for coming up with the idea. And then obviously all the industry partners that we have gathered and are going to gather to make that a success.
It's pretty cool because I got to see this weekend, I got to see the frame and the potential colors of the vehicle. Got to meet with some of the other partners. Spanesi Americas is one of the sponsors and going to work behind the scenes with equipment to help them as they're doing the restoration and some materials and even right down to doing some of the video and editing and different things that you guys are going to need in the project. So we're pretty excited on our end to be able to do this. But I think the biggest part of it is going to be at the end, the pride that those students that actually got to work on the vehicle and then to see how much actually comes in from that to be able to be given back and do something right for the industry. I mean, there was even T-shirts for sale at the New Jersey show.
Yep, I bought two.
That was going towards that, which was pretty cool.
Yes, and this is, I mean, again, while it's BASF and KTL that kind of initiated it, I can't stress enough that this is a industry opportunity to come together. So next month we're going to be opening up the raffle tickets sale opportunity. So whatever is raised through industry collaboration and people buying raffle tickets, that will dictate the size of the media exposure that we can do after the fact in showcasing this industry. So while it's a great opportunity, it's also on the industry to support us, get involved in whatever way they can, whether it's through monetary donations to sponsors. There's some things they're going to have to purchase when it comes to parts for the vehicle and things like that. We've got industry partners like Spanesi that are helping out on the in-kind side, which is crucial because it's less money that we would have to then spend. But then the more that we can raise for that project, the bigger splash we can have nationwide to get in front of the public, to what we talked about earlier. That's what's needed.
Well, and that brings me to my question. If someone wants to be involved in operative talent, do they reach out to you?
Reach out to Cref and go to our websites, and our contact information is there, collisioneducationfoundation.org, and we can make sure and have that dialogue of how can you get involved in the project, which might be in a couple different ways, or just helping to get the word out. We work with a lot of our industry partners when it comes to like our career fair events. Some companies support us by featuring the career fair schedule in their newsletter, which again helps get the word out. So it's less money that we might have to spend on advertising. It just helps get that messaging out. And I was actually talking with Fender Bender, who was actually at the Northeast show, was not aware of the project. We were able to show them the vehicle frame. They said, whatever you guys need from us to help get that word out, just let us know. So it's that kind of collaboration will only help that event that project be a bigger success.
Well, we all get by with our friends.
Yeah.
A little help here, a little help there. So I'm really excited about the project. I've worked with KTL now on a couple of different projects. Been down to their facility. Worked with them on the last truck that they showed at SEMA. So I'm pretty honored to be able to work with them again. They're great people. It's beautiful vehicles that that they produce and reproduce. So I'm pretty excited about that project. And when it comes time to get the students down there welding and that kind of thing, I'm going to be right there with them.
Nice.
So,
And thank you, obviously, for that continued support of that project and all the other past projects as well.
it's what we do. I mean, we're not going to survive as an industry unless everyone gets involved and everyone does just a little bit. Like you said, bought 2 T-shirts.
Yep.
I mean, what's the cost of a T-shirt?
T-shirts are $25 each, and there's what's going to be fun is that there's going to be, and this idea is coming from both Tina from BASF and Crystal from KTL, but there's going to be different versions of the T-shirt. So they're going to change up the artwork. The current one, I wish I would have brought it, but it's got almost like an 80s theme to it, I think, in terms of like the graphics or something like that. But they're going to be changing up different T-shirts every couple months, I think it is. But they're $25 each. But the funds that are kind of gained from the T-shirt sales are just going to be put into that pool, which again at the end is going to be what's going to help fund that national PSA campaign that we're going to do afterwards.
It's fantastic. I just like I said, when Crystal called me the first time and started talking to me about it, I'm like, I'm in. Even before she finished getting through the whole presentation, I'm like,
Yep.
Let's do it. Whatever we have to do to work through whatever the logistics are, let's get it done. So
Awesome, and thank you for that support. And Kurt and Crystal from KTL are quite the characters, but obviously passionate about this topic. So more than happy to get them involved. And another side piece, which you got to meet, I think some of the other the builders like KTL at the Northeast show,
Yes.
they're also getting involved, meaning like the Ring Brothers and Goolsby and things like that. So they're all getting involved, which will make this project even bigger because each will be sharing that information on their own social media channels and things like that. So word's going to spread not just within the industry, but it's going to expand out to like car enthusiasts, which I think is another untapped donor base for us. That we've been reliant mostly on the industry. My out-of-the-box thinking and why I was in Jay Leno's garage last November is car enthusiasts, which is a huge group out there. They're someone that I'm sure would get involved with our messaging and what we're trying to do to help the future car, repairers of the future.
And you're exactly right, because there's even this weekend at the show, a lot of people that came into our booth, they're not collision people. They're restoration people.
Nope.
And that's another business segment that's not even thought about when you're going through a school process to learn. But whether you're fixing a collision damaged vehicle or you're doing a restoration, you're still following the same processes.
Yep.
So I think it's really important to continue to work to get the message out. And I'm sure since you were in Jay Leno's garage and it only took you, 12 years to get there or so, it
Almost
was
20.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was one of your goals. Yep. I know that. Yep. I'm sure you have something behind the scenes coming with him too.
I have a lot
There's
in the
that
works.
Smile again.
And believe me, again, while my board or whomever allows me to be in this position, things are going to be stirred up, and there's a lot in the works. I'm heading out to California in the beginning of May to attend a conference or presenting at a conference. And believe me, when I'm out in the Hollywood neighbor, there's some key people that, in addition to Jay Leno, there's other key people that I'm going to try to get involved with us and our efforts to, again, help get the word out about the industry. So no rock will go unturned in terms of trying to at least ask and see who we can get behind us.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing when someone opens their garage and you find out what's inside. You don't even realize. If you look at Jay Leno's garage, he's basically got a full body shop in there.
Yes. And he was extremely kind in showcasing his garage, which was basically a warehouse, lots of vehicles. Right next door, to your point, was a team of, I think there was probably about 10 people in there. That's all they do is working on cars, tinkering around engines, things like that. So it was quite the experience. But work's not done yet with him and others.
That's awesome. Well, I really want to thank you for taking the time to sit with me this morning and chat. I know, like you said, we've worked together a long time. I see how the Collision Repair Education Foundation has grown, and it's amazing. From back when I originally started using the curriculum back in the early 90s when I was at a technical college, to see how you've been able to go mainstream and affect a lot of lives in the industry. Not just the students, but the shop owners, managers, and even our company here by, gaining a student from a local college with the right knowledge to be able to come in and be part of our measuring team.
Absolutely. And quick shout out, the Cref team, like you're saying, which is incredible, but it's Tiffany, Amber, Melissa, and myself. So we are a full-time staff of 4, but we're gathering as much resources and industry partners together to, again, change kind of this industry around when it comes to not only attracting students, but also getting them employed once they actually exit. So cannot do that without our industry partners. So thank you, Tim, to you, to your team, and your company for all the continued support.
Well, and to finish that story with our own technician, it just popped up in my mind one day, not too long after he graduated. He came to me, he goes, "Hey, boss, Cref is sending me a toolbox with tools in it." And I was like, "Well, you have tools here, but that's awesome."
Yeah.
Helping them get their start that way. So there's so many different things behind the scenes that you guys don't even really talk about that's getting done. So keep up the great work. I shouldn't say good work. Keep up the great work. And I really do appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Brandon Eckenrode from the Collision Repair Education Foundation for coming in today into our live studios. Thank you so much, Brandon. Tim Morgan, CEO of Spanesi Americas. If you'd like more information on the Collision Repair Education Foundation, go to their website, collisioneducationfoundation.org. Check it out. Give Brandon a call directly or his email. I'm sure you love me giving that out.
Always.
And then don't hesitate to contact us at Spanesi-Americas.com, 224-SPANESI. That's 224-772-6374. If you can help out the Collision Repair Education Foundation, we encourage you to do so. Hire those new technicians, bring them in, train them up, do what's right for this industry because we have an employee shortage that we need to fix. On behalf of everybody here, I want to thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
They say things are changing in the automotive industry. New technology, computers, self-driving vehicles. From where we stand, we see our future and our past. The Collision Repair Education Foundation supports educational programs, schools, and students, working to create qualified, entry-level employees ready for the career opportunities our industry provides. But we can't do this mission without you. Each year, the Foundation works to connect corporations and individuals to schools and students across this country. By being a part of our mission, you become an amplified force of leadership. Reaching students, instructors, and community businesses in every corner of the industry. From where we stand, together, we see our community evolving and supporting each other. We see connections being forged in fire and fostered with trust. Connections that live long past graduation day. Connections that form the foundation of our workforce and shape the future of collision repair. Your support not only provides the much-needed resources for instructional education, but builds local communities by facilitating a sustainable workforce. A workforce trained in tradition, but equipped for the future. Learn more about how you can impact the collision repair industry yesterday, today, and tomorrow.